is time to touch our bags and drop our sacks on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. We got another mailbag that we'll be bringing you, and I already took a sneak peek into the mailbag questions. And a lot of you want to know what is going on with DK Metcalf. I got an update, a shocking update for you that we will get to coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do that, though, folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed to Seahawks Today, but also that you're part of the Noti gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on so they never miss a moment. That way you're alerted when we go live for the live shows we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, when we have breaking news, our daily videos, the watch parties we do, all that stuff. You got to be subscribed, and you got to turn on notifications. Join the Noti gang. Spam Noti gang in the comments section. Stay alerted what's happening with your favorite team all offseason long right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. First in the mailbag this week, Beta YT with a $20 super chat says, hello, everyone. Hello, Beta. Hashtag Seahawks. Who would you rather see us draft, whether it be first rounds or later rounds? My two favorite prospects for Seattle in this draft, I'll answer it this way, Beta, are Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from the University of Texas. The eyes of Texas are upon you all the live long day. I think Kelvin Banks is fantastic. And there's not much wrong with his game. Very good pass blocker, very good run blocker. He's ready to start day one in the American Tackle Football League, known as the National Football League. Kelvin Banks would be great. But in our last mock draft that we did this week, sadly, he went about 1 or 2 picks before 18. So you might potentially have to trade up. I love Tyler Warren. I think he's going to be a star in the NFL. And think back to this last year, all right? I told you I was high on Brock Bowers and that I thought he was going to be a star in the NFL. And he had the best rookie tight end season that we've seen in the history of the National Football League. And I like Byron Murphy, but how much better off would Seattle be if they would have traded up and gotten Brock Bowers right now? It is safe. It is fair to admit, folks. And by all means, go in that comment section. You can tell me I was right, because I was right about Brock Bowers. And I'm going to be right about Tyler Warren as well. Those are my two favorites. Will they be available? We'll see as far as that goes. Later rounds, names to watch. I'm very curious about Dylan Gabriel. I think he could be a good value pick for Seattle potentially later in the draft. If you're looking for a young quarterback to potentially sit behind Geno and maybe be the successor down the road, but we'll see. Dan the Man Miller with a $50 super chat. Bang! Says, which OC do you think would be a home run for us, whether it's one we've interviewed or one we haven't interviewed? So at the time of this recording, Seattle has not hired an offensive coordinator just yet. And one name I would like them to consider is Doug Peterson. He's got the best resume of any offensive coordinator candidate in the entire NFL right now. He won a Super Bowl as head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a really good OC with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the problems there with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't necessarily put a blame on him, because Shad Khan is one of the worst owners in football. He can't even run AEW right with all the money he's putting in that just crappy wrestling league that's trying to compete with the WWE. So, Doug Peterson. Keep an eye on Dougie P. I think he would be a good fit potentially and would be a winner, and he's developed quarterbacks, and he's done that before. DK writes in, do you expect the Seahawks to trade or extend DK Metcalf? I got to tell you, there's a lot of rumblings. The talk is getting louder and louder about potentially trading DK Metcalf. And I'll sit here and I will continue to say, I don't want DK to go anywhere. I want DK to stay right here. I want to personally extend DK. You know, people have said I think Dan Graziano of ESPN was talking about this a while back. You might have to make a choice. Do you pay DK or do you pay Geno? I'd much rather pay DK than I pay Geno. I think DK is one of the better receivers in this league. He has been one of the few constants for this football team over the last 5 seasons. He's just now in the prime years of his career. I think he and JSN are a very good match together. I don't want DK to go anywhere. And I don't think you're going to get much return in a trade anyway, considering how expensive receivers are. I would like to keep DK around. I don't want to see him traded. It seems that people are as loud as ever on potentially trading DK, but I hope that John Schneider and Mike McDonald ignore those calls to move on from him. Should the Seahawks move on from DK Metcalf, or should they extend him? Type E for extend, T for trade. Weigh in the comments section and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered, including events in Seattle like the Kraken. Maybe you want to go over to Spokane and watch Gonzaga in action, whatever it may be. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, and then boom, just like that, you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's a deal you don't want to pass up on. You can also customize your spot. They have the seat views and get the visual, see what that seat is like. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Game Time, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks today. Plant writes in, will Abraham Lucas return next season? Yes, I do think that Abe is going to be back for next year. What I do wonder is, what's the long term look like? Will his knee hold up? Does Seattle want to pay to see if that knee is going to hold up or not? I don't know exactly for the long term. I think if you're this Seattle team, you need all the reinforcements you can get. And, you know, there's a possibility maybe Abraham Lucas potentially moves to the guard spot, depending on what the new offensive coordinator wants to do. But Abe, in those games that we saw him last year, granted it wasn't a lot, just over 400 snaps, his grades weren't bad. 62 offensive grade, close to 66 in pass blocking, 63 in run blocking. It was a tremendous improvement from anyone else we saw at that right tackle spot. I don't know exactly for certain what his role will be, but I'm bringing back Abe Lucas next year. I think that's a no-brainer, at least for next season. Beyond that, we'll see. Should the Seahawks bring back Abe Lucas? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no, if you think Seattle should make a return with Abraham Lucas. Richard writes in, should we draft a Texas Longhorn player from our home state of Washington, Malik Agbo, to help with the offensive line, or try if he goes undrafted, make Malik Agbo a Seahawk there? Malik Agbo, that's an interesting idea. Malik Agbo from the University of Texas, 6'4", offensive lineman. This is somebody that, he was a former 4-star recruit, there with the University of Texas. He was highly sought after. I remember when he had some offers from, Florida, Auburn, just to name a few, some of the teams that were out there when he was looking. But, with that said, him being a Federal Way kid, he was a sophomore and all this past season. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's draft eligible just yet. I think that he was a true sophomore. So I think he's still got one more year at Texas, if I'm remembering this correctly. So maybe a name to keep down the line. But, yeah, like if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think he's draft eligible just yet, but maybe down the line potentially. That'd be a cool homecoming there. Troll the photographer says, what's the likelihood DK or K9 is traded? We talked about DK earlier. I think the chances are as high as ever, but I hope it doesn't happen. K9, I think same for him. I think the chances are as high as ever with him as well. But what I would do, if I was John Schneider, if I was Mike McDonald, I am of the belief that running back is the most replaceable position in all of football. And what I would do is I would keep K9 and I would keep Zach Charbonnet on their rookie contracts, and I would run them both into the ground. I would get every ounce of them out of them as possible. And then you either bring them back on a short-term contract or you let them walk and you replace them with younger running backs. That, to me, is what's best for Seattle. Is that what's best for K9 or Zach Charbonnet to have long-term careers in the NFL? Absolutely not. But that's what's best for Seattle. I would bring K9 back. I'd bring Zach Charbonnet back, and I would just work them like a workhorse this next season and beyond, potentially. Last question. Brandon writes in, who should be our next OC based on availability? Let's talk about the candidates that have interviewed at the time of this recording, or the guys that are set to get interviewed. Grant Yadinsky intrigues me. I like him. I like Fraley, the Lions offensive line coach. Clint Kubiak, I also think, might be a decent hire as far as that goes. But Grant Yadinsky, I think, is very interesting. He's 28 years old. He's my age. We don't know a lot about him, but they're saying all the right things. So we'll see. Appreciate y'all joining us here on Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now for free. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.